police were reversing.
I can't see Karaba one again. Kakwata mic.
Okay, my big gun. Kandave. Kibera way there, the Kibera way there. Oba ka clip we kati akabula. Kibera mugulunji. Okay, jiteke just musawo mukasi musawo awali musawo yo ya sati Bobi musawo ya sati Bobi jiteke musawo ya sati jiteke musawo ya sati
Filming him. Film him close.
Watch the Uganda Jesus.
This is what the police is doing.
Jesus.
This is what the police is doing.
I cover this in the precious blood of Jesus. We want to be violent.
Don't be violent.
We will not be violent.
Oh, is it the one down there?
I want to go out.
Is it the one there?
Tajja kuyingiramu. Temulina gye mujja mutwala. Temulina gye mujja mutwala. Temulina gye mujja mutwala. Kasita bamukutte bamuteeka mu kavaanyi bamukutte. Bali mu muka namuteeka mu vaanyi yaye baasenda biramu y'emmotoka ye. Wano ekyambogo bali mu kumukwata baasenda biramu y'emmotoka ye. Kale gye mulina okumanya bamukutte. Temujja mutwala. Bakolomono mponyezza no bakyali. Temujja mutwala. Mujja kututwala, temujja mutwala. Temujja mutwala. Temujja mutwala.
Kyagulanyi, the presidential candidate. Bobi Wine is being arrested. Robert Kyagulanyi has been arrested violently, very, very violently. We don't know where they are taking him. He has been arrested violently and thrown into a truck. This is the situation here. He has been arrested.
Nyansi.
Eddie Jangu yingira mu motoka.
Military police.
Nyanzi bukira. Ayingire. Yingirira awo yingira Jangu. Nyanzi osala n'obuukamu n'ogende mabega yingira. Again. What you are doing is wrong. What you are doing is wrong.
Mujiri, Bobi bamukute. Bobi bamukute. Bamukute bagala mutwala uno.
Baina bibapanga
bagala kubo. Abano bagala kubo.
Bakitekawo.
Bali mukubera
bagala mutwala.
Abano amazi. Babano.
Kale bisajja biswaza.
Bano lwaki bakoze eki? Bobi bamukute. Bobi bamukute.
Motoka etali yafemba tumanyiga bone bukoni.
Bamukute. Kapani kabone muganda wange. Kama wakati mkubwa uli wa polisi wa maziwa wakatumanyira mumanyika.
Chairman yate kiki. Chairman toti amani.
Kiki wakabaka. Wakabaka mwene wakule jambo gavuru.
Yeah. All right, Godwin Mushabe, we are also getting live pictures from Chambogo University, near the environs of Chambogo University, as more of the aspirants make their way to the Chambogo University sports ground. We anticipate the arrival of Robert Kyagulanyi, aka Bobi Wine, to the nomination center. And yeah, those are some of the details that are coming in. We are keeping tabs as NTV Uganda, and best believe that we shall relay all those messages as they continue to trickle in. So there you have it. Police presence is major and so high at the Chambogo University and its surrounding environs. Presence that we didn't see yesterday. Absolutely, presence that we didn't see yesterday. And you have political experts who are using such facts to offer variations and say what we are seeing, the variations from what we are seeing today and yesterday are only testament that there is political favoritism among security apparatus and other public officials who, according to the Constitution, shouldn't be pronouncing themselves or doing actions that show support to a particular candidate. So this is an illegality all the same. But then Godwin Mushabe shall be helping us understand what are the implications of that. When a serving UPDF officer comes out and says we shall not give over power, what are the implications? And when this person is not fined or thrown in jail, what are the implications on the democratic values of this country when serving officers join politics? As it is, presence of the police and other military officers is so high at Chambogo University sports ground as the very much anticipated presidential aspirant for the National Unity Platform, Robert Kyagulanyi, makes his way to the sports ground for his nomination. Let's get some audio takeoff and listen in. All right, those are the live pictures coming in from Chambogo University as Robert Kyagulanyi makes his way to the nomination center. As you can see, the standard operating procedures are being adhered to. No chances are being taken. Yes, wash your hands, disinfect at all times, ensure that we ward off the contraction and the spread of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. They are wearing their face masks. So it's actually a very, very, very good day for the nomination of the Chadondo is legislator, that is Robert Kyagulanyi, who is vying at or trying to unseat President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power for close to 40 years in power. Do you think he has what it takes to take on Museveni, Godwin?
You mean Bobi Wine? Oh yeah, of course. For Bobi Wine, I think there are many people, especially Museveni supporters, who are very dismissive of him. I think it's that dismissiveness is unwarranted and unfortunate, because for someone like Bobi, you have to look at him as a successful young man, because success is not like a destination. Success is a process. So you get someone who grows up in the ghetto, has a successful music career, contests for the president, for MP and wins elections and becomes a member of parliament. And then at this point, he is actually about to be nominated to contest for president of Uganda. Now you can, people can just denigrate him for everything. I mean, we engage a lot on WhatsApp with a number of people who say this, he's a ganja man, he has done this. But in all honesty and with humility, we need to acknowledge the accomplishment that he has achieved.
What does he bring to this political race?
No, I think he brings in the energy of young people, the you may not really focus so much on his ideas, because I think one of the biggest ideas that I think I value about him is that fight for social justice. Because for me, before I even knew him personally, I used to love his music because a lot of his music was about social justice. And now he's here, about to be nominated for to contest for the presidency of this country, the highest office in the land. So we have to recognize that that is a level of accomplishment that not many of us as citizens have been able to achieve. So I have a lot of respect for him, but also the fact that he has energized the young people to be able to engage in the politically. If you look at the way the regime has conducted itself, is that since around, I think, August last year, when there was violence following the Arua by-elections,
Yes.
essentially the regime has imposed almost lockdown on him, stopping him from doing his music concerts.
Yet the same people say he's not a threat to the
Yeah,
party.
no, of course they know that they are telling a lie. but essentially, if there's anybody who has been treated unfairly in this country, it's Bobi Wine. I think the two people who have been treated most unfairly in this country is Bobi Wine and Dr. Besigye. I think as Ugandans we need to acknowledge
Bobi Wine and Dr. Kizza Besigye,
Yes.
who is not in this race.
Yes, I think
what does the absence of Kizza Besigye in this race actually mean?
No, I think for me, I'm one of those people who believe that Dr. Besigye made the right decision not to be contesting for this election, because the regime had used him as a guinea pig, essentially saying that because of participation of Dr. Besigye, that's why there is election violence. Now Dr. Besigye is not in the race, and you see the regime deploying battle wagons.
It seems like he wanted the Ugandans to see for themselves.
Yes,
that even though I'm not in the race, it will happen to the next person.
Absolutely, I think without a doubt, Dr. Besigye's absence of the rest in the race essentially demonstrates that the regime will do anything to anybody who poses a threat to President
Great
Kagame.
argument, but let's hand over to the spokesperson, Paul Bukenya, so that we can listen in. Paul?
Personnel, we have our time to interact with the aspirants. You know that we have a schedule. We even have a media booth where we'll interact with the aspirant. Please, media, let us stick to our rules of engagement.
Our only duty, we have a press please.
Thank you very much. Protocol and security. Let's usher in the aspiring candidate. Protocol, please. Lord Chair and Returning Officer for Presidential Elections would like to welcome aspiring candidate Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert, the National Unity Platform, who is here with us at the nomination venue. Protocol team, can we please usher in the aspirant to their seat? We welcome you, aspirant Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert, to the national nomination venue for presidential elections 2021. and welcome the entourage that you've come with. And thank you for keeping to the numbers that we recommended. Thank you very much. We welcome the spouse, Madam, you're welcome, and the rest of the team. This is what's going to happen in the next few minutes. And like you notice, we've lost some time on your slot. We will ask at this moment the proposer and the seconder to present to the chairperson, the returning officer for these elections, the nomination documents of the aspiring candidate. The proposer and the seconder, please prepare for presentation the nomination documents. Media, we need to keep to our allocated spaces as per the SOPs we put in place. Please, let's comply with that. At this moment, at the earliest, because we've lost some time, dear members, the proposer and the seconder are invited to present to the returning officer the nomination documents of aspiring candidate Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert. Please, let's do that. The Commission awaits the presentation by the proposer and the seconder of the set of documents for purposes of nomination of aspiring candidate Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert. Please, let's do that.
Aspirant Kyagulanyi Sentamu, you are expected here at 10 o'clock. And now it is almost 10 minutes to 11. Whereas you may say we are within time, but the nomination is a process and it requires some time for us to go through your documents. In the process, you realize the conclusion of your nomination for what is going to take place will eat into the time allotted to the next aspirant. So when the Commission sets these timelines, they are for a purpose. But we are going to float them at leisure, then serves no purpose. So please, we want to urge you that let us work in tandem with the programs set by the Commission if we want to move forward these processes appropriately.
For those following, the proposer and the seconder have presented the documents for aspiring candidate Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert to the returning officer for verification. The verification process is going to be handed handled by a team led by Umau Kimba, who is the head of our election management department. And the first step that we take as a measure to prevent and combat the spread of COVID-19 during the nomination process, the first measure we take is to sanitize the documents because of a risk of spread of COVID-19 through touching surfaces. So the team accompanying aspirant Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, that is a paper heater. The documents are not being burnt to ashes, they are being cleansed through the process. The paper heater helps to cut out the risk of COVID-19. Now this is what's going to happen, and this is what is required in what you have presented. We are going to look for proof that the documents have been prepared well. The nomination paper is presented in triplicate. That part of the documents contain a declaration by you, aspiring candidate, that you've consented to the nomination. We are going to look for proof of minimum formal education of advanced level or its equivalent. We'll also look for proof of registration as a voter for your proposer and your seconder. The verification team will look at the photographs that have been provided accompanying the nomination paper and whether they meet the specifications as laid down by the Electoral Commission and the guidelines we issued to aspiring candidates. 3 recent postcard size photographs of the proposed aspirant, the proposed candidate. Then very important, the certificate of compliance issued by the Electoral Commission in accordance with Section 10 of the Presidential Elections Act, which requires an aspiring candidate, in order to be successfully nominated, you must have been supported by 100 registered voters from 98 districts, which make up 2/3 of all the districts of Uganda. We will also look for proof of payment of the non-refundable fee, nomination fee of 20 million shillings. Then the last one I think doesn't apply, this being a political party, the symbol for the aspiring candidate. Those areas will be scrutinized by the team, which is now at work, led by the head legal, Dr. Jennifer Ngeo, and the team, Ahmed Ochama, voter data management, and Umal Chimba, election management. On the other side, we also have a technical team that's going to support the process, looking at the voter data that you provided. For those interacting with the Commission for the first time, I'd like to quickly introduce the members. We have Commissioner Justin Ahawe Mugabi, my immediate right, Commissioner Emorut Peter, Commissioner Natalie Etomaru. The returning officers already welcomed you. The Deputy Chairperson, Electoral Commission, Hajat Aisha Lubega, and Commissioner Mustafa Chigozi Sebagala Haji. And lastly, the Acting Secretary, Electoral Commission, Mr. Mlekwa Leonard. I am Bukenya Paul, spokesperson, Electoral Commission. Once again, welcome, and relax, feel at home, feel at easy, feel at Chambogo. Lord Chair, the list I have here of persons accompanying the aspiring candidate, Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, has Mrs. Barbara Itungo Kyagulanyi, and we welcome you, Madam. It has Honorable Matthias Mpuga, who is also in the House. Dr. Lina Zedriga, you are welcome, Madam. Honorable Nambeshe John Baptist, welcome, sir. We have Honorable Asman Basariva in the House. Honorable Francis Zake Butebi, Mr. Ali Buken Nobian Lee, Mr. Joel Senyonyi, and Mr. Nyanzi Fred Sentam. Lewis, you're welcome. Lord Chair, that's the team that has accompanied the aspirant in accordance with the guidelines that were issued out. Like we say, the nomination event is a joyous affair. Please follow the proceedings with confidence and everything will go well. Okay? Yep. Thank you. And to our audiences that are following on television, online, near and far, and to the aspiring candidate, we want to pass on some critical information that you need to know, and I would like the rest of the team, the members who have accompanied the aspiring candidate, to carefully note. The exercise we are conducting and the upcoming exercises leading to elections in January are governed by the following laws. The Constitution of Uganda, very, very important. The Electoral Commission Act, the Presidential Elections Act. We will be, as we progress in this electoral process, dear aspiring candidate, be under, and these following laws will apply: the Political Parties and Organizations Act and its provisions relating to this exercise, the Uganda Communications Act, because we are going to use a lot of media to engage with our audiences and the electorate, the Public Health Control of COVID-19 rules, which forms the basis for the guidelines that the Electoral Commission has issued to guide our campaigns. This is a law that will apply, and you will meet provisions of this law in the course of our engagement with the electorate and with the Electoral Commission throughout this electoral process. We want you to take note of that. The Computer Misuse Act of 2011 will apply, as well as the Uganda Communications Text and Multimedia Messaging Regulations of 2019. We would like to have this brought to the attention of aspiring candidates as well as the agents and the persons who are going to support the campaign, so that we know the legal framework and environment in which we are operating. I think the nomination team is still seeking issues that need to be clarified so that we progress to the next level. So for that purpose, the Electoral Commission has issued standard operating procedures which are evident from the very act that we are witnessing today, the fact that we could not move in big numbers and big crowds. We emphasize that message because we want to promote safe participation in the electoral process. And the best people to take out the message of safe participation are the aspiring candidates and the nominated candidates. So to the people you love, the people you lead, the people who love you, the people who cherish you, we want to send a message of safe participation in the electoral process and take all necessary measures to protect each other from the risk of spread of COVID-19 during the electoral process. So as we continue our engagement, we will be coming across the several guidelines that the Electoral Commission has issued, and we expect and call for compliance. We call for compliance as opposed to defiance. And for that purpose, I want to emphasize once again that this process is going to move. The verification is right now ongoing, and every question that the team has must be answered to satisfaction before we proceed to the next levels, including declaration. After the exercise is done here, we will depart from the main nomination venue to the parking yard. On successful nomination as a candidate, there will be provision of security and a vehicle that has been planned for that purpose. The Commission will hand over the vehicle and the security team to a nominated candidate. And after that, there is a press booth that has been set up so that a successfully nominated candidate can address the nation and talk to the press about the coming days, the campaigns, and their plans and their strategies. And after that, there will be exit from the nomination venue. So we wish you successful nomination. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've seen my friend Vivian Lee talk to the aspiring candidate. I think he finds the music appropriate. I'm sure. When you see pen coming to paper, then I think you get some relief. So as that progresses, I want to pass on these messages. As we go through the processes, we would like to bring to your attention, all our audiences and Ugandans at large, that the electoral program is already released for various selective positions, and I would like to use this opportunity to remind year of the polling dates that the Electoral Commission has already issued and published and gazetted. As you're aware, elections will take place between the 10th of January and the 8th of February. And for that reason, the following dates were issued by the Commission. The election of councillors for other persons to sub-county, town and municipal divisions. These are local government elections. Male and female councillor will be on the 11th of January 2021. And we'd like stakeholders to note that. The election of councillors for persons with disabilities to sub-counties, town councils and municipal divisions will be on the 11th of January 2021. The elections of youth representatives to sub-county, town and municipal divisions will be on the 11th of January 2021. The election of councillors, male and female councillors, for older persons to municipality and city divisions will be conducted on the 12th of January 2021. An election of councillors for persons with disabilities to the municipality and city division will also be conducted on the 12th of January 2021. These dates are issued and gazetted. The elections of councillors for youth to the municipality and city division will be conducted on the 12th of January. Elections of members of parliament, direct elected MP, and district woman representative to parliament will be conducted on the 14th of January 2021. The National Conference for election of older persons representatives to parliament, which is a new position, the conference will be held on the 17th and 18th of January 2021. Similarly, the National Conference for election of representatives of persons with disabilities, PWD MPs to parliament, will be on the 17th and 18th of January 2021, and the Commission will issue a comprehensive program including the venues for these delegates' conferences. We will have the National Conference for election of workers' representatives to Parliament on the 17th and 18th of January 2021, and the Commission will announce the venue. The elections of LC5, district local government councils, that is the district city chairpersons, Lord Mayor, mayors and their councillors, will be on the 20th of January 2021. The National Conference for election of National Female Youth MP, National Female Youth Representative to Parliament, will be on the 21st and the 22nd of January 2021. The elections of municipality and city division chairpersons and their respective councillors will be on the 25th of January 2021. While the election of councillors for older persons to district local government councils will be on the 27th of January 2021. We will have the elections of councillors for PWDs to district local government councils on the 27th of January 2021. The elections of councillors for youth to the district local governments will be on the 27th of January 2021. Elections of councillors of workers representatives to district local governments will be on the 27th of January 2021. The elections of UPDF representatives to Parliament will be on the 29th of January 2021. Then the regional conferences for election of regional youth MPs to Parliament will be held on the 31st of January to the 1st of February 2021. The elections of sub-county, town, and municipal division chairpersons, or LC3 elections countrywide, will be conducted on the 3rd of February 2021. And that will mark the end of the elections that have been scheduled. And the Commission, on completion of the nomination exercise today, will announce and publish the polling date for presidential elections. To our viewers following the nomination exercise, The documents have been presented to the aspirant to sign them and own them so that the set is complete and can be received and accepted and used for purposes of the nomination and subsequent electoral activities relating to presidential elections. So as you can see, some levels are already published and their dates are already known. Today, after the closure of nominations, the chairperson, who is the returning officer for presidential elections, will officially announce the polling date and, for that matter, the campaign period for presidential elections 2021. And you need to be patient to receive that this evening. So now that the dates are known and the candidates for the various levels, local government and parliamentary, are already nominated, the Commission has issued campaign guidelines, and we want to ensure that there is compliance with those guidelines. Simple acts of compliance will help us have a very successful campaign period, and more importantly, a safe campaign period, given that we have COVID-19 around us. So our message continues to ring out. Let's promote safe participation in the electoral activities that are before us. Thank you very much. And the papers are returned to the returning officer for further handling and communication. That big machine, or whatever they call it, is called a seal. And I think when you see the seal, Joel, I know you want to tweet. When you see the seal, it brings a lot of relief to you that, you know, things are moving fine. So with the stamp and seal and the signature, there is more confidence that I'm progressing well as an aspirant. Yeah. So as the chair prepares the documents, we want to reiterate and briefly go through what's expected of us after we conclude this first process here. There is a provision in the Presidential Elections Act for a successfully nominated candidate. The Commission shall provide security, and that comes in the form of security personnel and a lead vehicle. And the Commission is already prepared to do that to each and every successfully nominated candidate. So from here, that will be undertaken, and then after that, there will be opportunity to address the press. And we've made provision, because there is already another aspirant in the queue, we do have 20 minutes for that session before we exit the nomination venue. So, dear members of the press, and the aspiring candidate and your team, which has a very good press officer, I think we'd like you to stick to that so that we do not hold the aspirant here longer than the time that has been allocated to that purpose. So the conduct of campaigns will follow the SOPs that the Electoral Commission has issued. And the purpose of that is to ensure as much as possible that we combat and prevent the spread of COVID-19 during campaigns. And for that matter, as you're already aware through our communications, mass public rallies remain banned. So part of what is supposed to be presented, and I think the chairperson will be communicating that shortly, is the proposed campaign schedule. And I would now like to invite the chairperson to address us on more details. Thank you, sir.
All right. As I mentioned earlier on, the nomination process involves many phases. We have verified the documentation presented by the aspirant, and we find that he has satisfied the requirements. Therefore, I, Justice Byabakama Mugenyi Simon, being the returning officer for the nomination of presidential candidates, declare that Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, a duly nominated candidate in respect of the presidential elections 2021, he having fulfilled the nomination requirements under the Presidential Elections Act 2005 as amended. As a duly nominated candidate, you are required to observe the following. 1, you are to appoint an official agent who will coordinate your campaign meetings and media program, and also attend meetings on your behalf where necessary. Secondly, avail the Commission with the schedule of your campaign meetings and media program as soon as practicable to facilitate the smooth harmonization of all the candidates' campaign programs countrywide. Thirdly, you are to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Electoral Commission in compliance with the harmonized campaign program and adherence to the campaign guidelines, including the COVID-19 standard operating procedures. Also wish to urge the aspiring candidate that the Commission, one of the guidelines issued by the Commission is that processions along public roads are prohibited. Secondly, as an aspirant, we expect you to take personal responsibility towards your supporters as well as yourself by discouraging them from gathering in large numbers, because we are in the midst of the COVID pandemic. So please, waving to the people through the roof of your vehicle attracts people to gather in big numbers. Honorable Sentamu, so please avoid that kind of conduct. You can wave to the people through your car window. There's no problem with that. So please, we are putting these measures in place for the good of our people, for your own good, so that we ensure this process is concluded successfully and with the people remaining healthy come 2021. Now, I want to invite your agents to come and pick these personal documents together with the nomination documents by the Commission. Can you please step forward? Or if you want, you can come forward. You can come, Honorable Sentam. Don't worry. I hope you underwent the test for COVID.
Thank you, Lord Chair.
Now, the next activity, as I said, we are running out of time because you came late. The next activity, can you please listen? Can you please listen? Let's have some level of discipline here. All right? We're disciplined a lot here. Right. Now, the next activity is to hand over the security vehicle to the aspirant over there, and after that, we shall, but mind you, this vehicle already has a driver. The commission has secured a driver for that vehicle. And secondly, we have also secured for you security personnel who will be accompanying you wherever you are going on that vehicle. After that, you will have a short stint with the media because, as I said, you have eaten into the time of another candidate because you reported to this venue late. So let's go and conclude that exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
My voice is high.
Obubaka buno bukutusibwako ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku byokulonda ekya Electoral Commission. Obubaka buno bukutusibwako ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku byokulonda ekya Electoral Commission.
Mic check. Make it a little bit high, man.
A returning officer welcome you back from that session. Protocol and security. I'm told the next aspiring candidate is already here, Mr. Mayamba Lawile. Can we please usher in the next aspiring candidate, Mayamba Lawile, to the nomination venue?
Thank you very much. Fellow Ugandans here in Uganda and everywhere else in the world, I bring you revolutionary greetings wherever you are, and I thank you for the massive support that you have given to us for these past 3 years, which have been years full of challenges. I take this opportunity to also announce that what we are witnessing right now is the launch of a very critical phase in our struggle to liberate ourselves from a dictatorship which has crippled our country for almost 4 decades. A dictatorship which has strangled our economy with a massive corruption, patronage, high cost of living, a sick healthcare system, a broken down healthcare system, etc., etc. For a very long time now, we have lamented and cried about the government which works for only the few and excludes the majority. Well, today we close the book of lamentation and open the book of Acts. It is time for action, action that will put an end to the injustices, the oppression, and the impunity in our beautiful country, Uganda. Countrymen and women, I come before you not as the most qualified, not as the most experienced, but I come before you as the most committed to lead this liberation, to lead the people of Uganda out of slavery. Countrymen and women, for the last 58 years, our nation has suffered. So many problems have befallen our nation, but key among them has been dictatorships. Each one trying so much to outdo the one before it in violence, in looting, and in plunder. We have not witnessed a peaceful transfer of power from one leader to another since our country became independent in 1962. Unfortunately, friends, 15 years ago, when we had the chance to witness the first peaceful transition of power, 15 years ago, President Museveni, through greed, he denied our nation an opportunity of experiencing a peaceful transition of power from one leader to another, from one generation to another. And as if that was not evil enough, only 3 years ago, this greed caused him to act in the most shameful manner and remove the last safeguard in form of age limit from our constitution. Like Idi Amin, Museveni declared himself president for life in our country, Uganda. Well, little did he know that God will one day raise a generation that will not take that. Little did he know that God will raise unexpected people from unexpected places. So, to you, Mr. Museveni, since you have failed to control your greed and lust for power, our generation is determined to save you from yourself and stop your 35-year-old dictatorship. The liberation and socio-economic transformation of our country cannot be achieved unless we first remove the big obstacle, and that is Museveni, who has undermined all institutions of state and instead institutionalized corruption in Uganda. And of course, he has institutionalized human rights violations. Fellow Ugandans, I'm offering myself as a candidate of the highest office in this land, as a representative of the oppressed Ugandans. My background is well known to you, all of you, born hustling and born to hustling parents, raised in the ghettos of Kamocha, but fortunate enough to raise on top courtesy of my talent and hard work. It is now this background that has enabled me to understand the struggles of the common Ugandans. 35 years ago, Museveni started feeding off taxpayers' money and living in absolute abundance. Him and his cronies are completely detached from the common person, and no wonder they mock our people because they've impoverished them, battered them, and suppressed them. And that is why this election, in this election, I am representing the weak. I am representing the poor. I am representing the downtrodden. I am representing those that have been excluded from a system which works only for a few, and of course, sitting and stepping on the necks of the many. I am representing the overtaxed business people. I'm representing the parents that have sold all their land to take their children to school, and now their children cannot find jobs. I am representing the border riders who are persecuted every day after being made to pay large sums of money. I am representing those wives and mothers that cannot afford maternal health. I am representing the business person who borrows money at high rates and cannot figure out how to pay it. I'm representing the local suppliers who were kicked out of government tenders simply because they don't know anybody in government. I am representing poor Ugandans who have lost land to the powerful land grabbers, and many of them are in government. Yes, those who cannot get justice because justice under Museveni is for sale. I am representing the poor soldiers, the police officers who are so oppressed, yet they are commanded to beat and kill citizens who they are supposed to protect simply because they must appease the rich. Those rich and the mighty are the ones we are standing against. In this election, gentlemen and ladies, I am representing the hardworking people of Busoga that have been deliberately kept poor by the NRM regime. I am representing the great people of Acholi, whose land is being stolen in broad daylight by the regime and its cooperatives. I am representing the people of Lango, who have been deliberately marginalized and disempowered for the past 3 decades. They have been deliberately marginalized and squeezed. I am representing the impoverished people of Karamoja, who are kept under the barrel of the gun while their gold, their copper, their cobalt, and iron ores are stolen away by the rich and mighty. I am representing the people of Unyoro, who live and grow cheap crops on the oil that is theirs. Yes, their oil has been kept in the dark because they are looked at as they don't have a right to know what is happening in their land. I am representing the people of Bugishu, whose past glory has been shattered by the present regime. Their cooperatives, which kept them rich and productive, were destroyed by the regime. I am representing the people of Chigezi, who work so hard to earn little. I am representing the people of Bukedi, who have been turned into beggars on their own land. Representing the people of Uganda, whose land has been grabbed and they are left poor. They are made beggars. They are made slaves on the land of their grandfathers. I am representing all the people of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, representing the people of Toro, the people of Rwenzori, who live in constant fear because of the brutal regime. Those who are battered in 2018, whose wounds are still fresh in the minds. I represent them. I represent the youth who are very hardworking, and yet they have no way to break through the yoke of oppression. The youth that work so hard but don't have the means of production. They don't have no land, they don't have no capital, and they have limited or no opportunities. These are the people I am representing. I am representing this section. The vast majority who are oppressed, yearning for freedom. I'm representing the journalists who cannot even peacefully practice their work without being harassed and beaten by the regime. I am representing the health workers who are paid peanuts for doing incredible work. I am representing my mother, who was a nurse, who had 10 children and who died a miserable life because when she got an accident and put in Morago casualty, she had to stay there an hour in a hospital she served for more than 20 years. I am here to speak for her, even though she cannot speak no more. These are the people that I'm representing. Fellow Ugandans, I present myself to you as a servant, not as a boss. While our detailed plan of action towards our new Uganda will be presented to you through our manifesto, allow me very briefly, because we don't have time, to state just a few things that we will run based on. Most importantly, I want you the people of Uganda, to know that we are going to run a people-centered government which focuses on these areas. Our agenda, first and foremost, is freedom. We want to ensure that all Ugandans, regardless of who they are, of where they come from, are free in their country. All Ugandans must enjoy the freedom of expression, the freedom of conscience, the freedom to disagree with those in power, the freedom to assemble peacefully, and yes, the freedom to worship, and all other freedoms which have been, of course, taken away by the regime. So number one, I intend to increase the pay of the security forces. Let me say that again. I intend to increase the pay of our security forces. The pay of our soldiers, police officers, and prison officers is so miserable. It must be improved. If I become president, I will have the privilege to know what the classified budget really does. Such a huge amount of money will be used to improve the pay of our security forces so that they can live a better life. When I'm president, the lowest paid soldier or police officer will be earning 1 million shillings. Let me say it again. When I am president, the lowest earning police officer or soldier or prison officer will be earning 1 million shillings. I will improve their housing and health care. low-ranking and middle-ranking officers must be entitled to free quality health care as the high-ranking officers. Our government will find opportunities for the spouses of the soldiers and police officers to ensure that they are each contributing to the livelihood of their families. I also intend to streamline the promotion criteria in the armed forces and, of course, in the police, which will be based on merit and not technical know-how. Never again will soldiers be forced to join the police. I say this again. Never again will soldiers be forced to become police officers like we see today, because they had the option of joining the police, but they decided to join the army. In our plan, the better option is not to recruit from the police, from the army to the police, but instead to improve and empower the police so that they can become better and operate better. The children of the soldiers and the police officers will be entitled to free education up to university. There is no greater sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen, than serving in uniform, and it will be our deliberate plan to ensure that our men and women in uniform in dignity. I firmly believe if we do this, I strongly believe that if we do this, then our armed men and women in uniform will have respect for the citizens. In a new Uganda, there will be mutual love and respect between those in uniform and the ordinary citizen of Uganda. When I become president, we shall introduce a contract arrangement for the security officers. In other countries, one can serve in the military, and after some time, they resign when they are still young. And of course, they resign with a better retirement package. But today, they are all tied. Even when they want to resign, they cannot. One should be proud to serve in the military or in the police and resign. So we shall make it on contract so that we make that job so nice for you to work. Number 2, in the new Uganda, there will be access to affordable quality health care for all Ugandans. And this will be priority in terms of budgetary allocations. Effective supervision, of course, will be there. But health can be fixed. I'm not here to preach as a professor or a very experienced person in health, in the health sector. But I want to tell you, only following the Abuja Declaration of raising the budgetary allocation to 15% of the national budget, we are going to have a perfect healthcare system. And yes, we will do it. Number 3, education. We all know that education is what paves way for a new. Maybe if I did not get the rare opportunity to education, I would still be in. But now that I'm here, it has to work for everybody. It has to be transformation for every ghetto youth. I've told you before about our education, and I will emphasize that we'll have the 4 A's that we'll focus on in our education. And empower the academics, we will arts, we will empower the athletics, and of course, we shall empower agriculture. We shall deal with unemployment, and of course, have a whole lot of job creation. I might not have to sedate on that, but I can guarantee you that by 2025, we have created 1 million jobs. And I sign because I will be president. Number 5, agriculture. Well, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy. And even if it is being disrespected and given no attention, our government intends to zone this country and ensure that each zone has a cash crop and a food crop. Friends, this is not rocket science. It is not going to begin with my presidency. It has been done before. It is a question of waking it up. When I was growing up, every region of this country had a cash crop and a food crop. We don't have that anymore. Why? Because the regime has different priorities, among which, or number 1 of which, is retaining power. But when I'm president, you are going to see that with your own eyes. And yes, we shall ensure access to proper input and promote good agricultural practices, and of course, value addition. We shall revamp coffee production, because when I was growing up, coffee production is what put us on the world map. I can guarantee you that our government will ensure that by 2025, Uganda exports 50 million bags of coffee. 50 million. And I sign because I will be president. Science and technology. I cannot talk so much about this, friends. Many of you are members of my generation, and you know how this is going to revamp our country. Our government will focus on promotion of science and technology as a catalyst for economic growth and development. This is going to be done through allocation of funds to schools that are specifically majoring in that. And of course, we shall establish innovation hubs in every sub-region of Uganda. Our school-going children should receive world-class ICT because I believe that we Ugandans, we are first world brains stuck in a third world country. And yes, Uganda is not a third world country. It is only our leaders that are third world leaders. Now, you got a first world leader. Let's go for that. Number 7, access to water and electricity. Friends, the vast majority of Ugandans have no access to clean water. But our government is going to ensure that every household in Uganda has access to clean water. In terms of power supply, we shall ensure that more households are connected to the power grid. However, we shall also pursue a deliberate policy of ensuring that households in rural areas have access to solar power. This can be done, and this will be done. Fellow Ugandans, there are many other things that we plan to do for this nation, some of which are put in our manifesto. This regime has destroyed many, many dreams of Ugandans. But today, I want to say to you, please dare to dream again. Please dare to hope again. Friends, dare to believe again. Our nation has been reduced into a laughing stock among nations. But once again, we shall rise to be the true Pearl of Africa that we have been known for. Nothing can defeat people united, especially if we are united by conviction. A people united can never be defeated. 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 Yes, and also I want you to know that nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. Our story as NUP and as People Power, and also my individual story, friends, is a story of commitment, resilience, and never giving up. It is an example that challenges only strengthen the prepared. Let us come together under the umbrella of a new Uganda. And yes, march together, all of us, men and women, young and old, rich and poor, towards that new Uganda. As I conclude, I want you to know that we are aware that Museveni prides himself in his record of rigging elections. And of course, that the Electoral Commission has always been helping him in achieving that. Well, today, let me send a message to him and Mr. Byabakama. Just like I've just told him in his face, I will tell him again publicly that it is in your best interest not to mess with the people of Uganda. I say this again, Mr. Museveni and Mr. Byabakama, it is in your best interest not to mess with the people of Uganda. Because if you do so, you know the cost will be high. So finally, to all the Ugandans out there in Uganda and abroad, we rally you not to treat this as an ordinary election, but as a revolutionary election. The stakes are high. The transition is in our face. Freedom is staring us in the face, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. The time is now. And we have entered the ring. I say we have entered the ring and we are not coming out. We only await to raise our fist in victory. Because this is the time, ladies and gentlemen. Kati tusimbudde. I say kati tusimbudde. This is it. This is a battle between the past and the future. I say this again, this is a battle between the past and the future, between the old and the new. between slavery and freedom. This is the defining moment. So, I want you to know, Ugandans, that power is in your hands. And it is this time where you choose to trust that power in a person that you decide. This is a mission to freedom. I say this again. This is a mission to freedom, not a mere election. We are removing a dictator. Say that after me. We are removing a dictator, and we are doing this peacefully and constitutionally and legally, because we know that our laws provide for that. If we were born and there was no constitution in Uganda, we would bow to slavery. But when I read the constitution, it guarantees all this. When I remember what President Museveni said when he was my age, he said, what do you do when a regime has closed all avenues of peaceful change? Well, we have an avenue of peaceful change, and we know the world is watching us. We are going to be free. I say we are going to be free. And now, very, 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 very finally, I want to pay tribute to all the people that have been struggling, those that came before us, those that have lived before us. We are alive to the fact that we stand on your shoulders. We are alive to the fact that you inspired us to see the truth. And we call all upon you to stand by that truth. I want to respect Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere. I want to respect Dr. Kiza Besigye. I want to respect Dr. Miriam Matembe and all other leaders who have paid the price in different ways. And of course, I want to salute all the comrades that have been murdered in cold blood in our pursuit for freedom. We stand by you. Your blood is still watering the tree of freedom. And I can guarantee you, comrades, wherever you lie, that we shall be free or we shall die trying to be free. I thank you for God and my country. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in a new Uganda. People power. Our power. People power. NUP. Everywhere.